Hello guys, so today I'm going to show you how to write a student-friendly measurable objective. So there's three things that I always make sure to have when writing a student-friendly measurable objective. The first thing I look to is making sure that my student-friendly measurable objective has the adequate verbs. So verbs. Now these verbs can be obtained from Bloom's taxonomy or Costa's level of thinking. Depending on the student population that we service for that particular period or classroom, is the verbs that we employ. The higher the for lack of I don't want to sound too mean, but the brighter the students, the higher the rigor in either Bloom's taxonomy or Costa's level of thinking. So you're in the best position to know uh, what verbs to use. The next part that I need to I make sure to include on my objective is the relevance. Relevant, making it relevant, meaning that however you decided to write your student-friendly measurable objective, make sure to always make it relevant for the students. The relevance makes it easier for them to have an interest in the lesson of the day. And the last one is make it measurable. Therefore, if through the independent practice or to the closure, an exit ticket, once you gather the data, you are able to see if the students met the measurable objective that you had for the day. So let's get it started. So for the sake of this video, I'm gonna be using U.S. history TEKS. So let's go to U.S. history. Let's see. So U.S. history. So for U.S. history, we have all these TEKS. Let's say I'm gonna be using this one, Citizen 19A, define and give examples of unalienable rights right here. I'm gonna be using this one. So I'm gonna go to back to the PowerPoint. I'm gonna, okay, so the TEK verbatim reads as follows. You read, it's a Citizen, it's 19A, and it said define and give examples of unalienable rights. Unalienable rights. So that's the TEK verbatim. However, that's too formal, so I'm going to create a student-friendly measurable objective. So the student-friendly measurable objective. So let me look for what I'm referring to. This is Bloom's taxonomy. That's knowledge, understanding, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. The higher, when you get them to the creative level, that's like the higher order thinking. Either you question them at the higher order thinking, or you um, draft your objective at the higher order thinking, depending on the population. I would suggest always going with the apply, starting at the apply, unless the TEK is difficult, then you can start it lower. This TEK particularly this TEK is difficult, so I'm gonna start them at the understand because I know that unalienable rights they're not too familiar with it, so I know that they first have to um, interpret what I'm referring. First define, interpret, and hopefully get them to evaluate the reasoning of how that affects them. So this is Bloom's taxonomy. Now you guys have a packet that is more extensive than this one. Now another theories I wanted to introduce is Costa's level of thinking. Also, it's similar to the Bloom's, but this one it consists of three stages of rigor: the gathering, which is where the students define, list, describe; the processing, and the application, evaluate. So it's kind of similar to that one. Regardless of what educational psychologists you employ, um, make sure that you always consider the verbs that you'll be using depending on the population that you're going to be servicing. You're going to be tailoring your lesson to. And the next one, this one is So, that's it. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. So the student-friendly measurable objective. So I would write something like, I will interpret. That's one verb. That's already at the lower order thinking, because I know that they don't know anything about unalienable rights. So I will interpret the unalienable rights sought by the colonists and evaluate. Now that's the second to the highest level of thinking, the highest level of thinking at Costas, and the second to the highest level of thinking on Bloom's taxonomy, and evaluate how having them in their way of life and continues to affect our present way of life with 80% mastery. So three, remember from the first slide, verbs, relevance, measurable. So on this one, interpret and evaluate. So I'm having them both scaffolding to the interpret level, which is Bloom's taxonomy, lower order thinking in the pyramid, and evaluate, that's the second to the highest order um, thinking. So, and this would be Costa's highest level, and this would be Costa's lower level. So I'm having them first to interpret. Okay, interpret them, and you can even, I will define and interpret them. I will define, because first and interpret. You're first introducing them to the actual unalienable rights that they believe they should have, and you're having them interpret, and eventually you're having them evaluate how having them impacted the colonist way of life, and how breaking relevance, how that affects our present way of life with 80% mastery. So that's it. Here is one component, the measurable, the relevance, how that affects them, their present way of life, and the verbs. And again, guys, that's how you draft a measurable, student-friendly measurable objective. Thank you so much. This is Mr. Tijerina. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much.